Welcome back to Build It Bear Lake. Last week we got all of the soffit onto the garage, and this week we're going to be tackling the siding for the garage.
All right, we are doing vinyl siding on 3 sides of the garage, and we're doing board and batten on the front of the garage. The reason is that most of the garage is covered, or it's surrounded with this, which is hills. We're never going to see it. So we are doing the cheapest cheapy plastic. It's quite simple to do. We start off by attaching these corners. There's a precision cut that we had to make around the soffit right there, and then we put up some very level starter strips, and this stuff just hooks up onto it like that. It just has a little hook on the bottom of the starter strip. This comes up, and then we attach screws along here as we're doing it. We have a ton of it. We have 120 feet at a little over 12 feet of height everywhere, plus the gable ends. So quite a lot of siding to do. The good news is it goes very quickly. So as long as we keep our attitudes positive, we'll be rocking and rolling.
It's Saturday morning and it's actually a beautiful day. We're working on siding today. We found out that the fascia that we had like a lip that didn't work with the soffit that we had. We can't put the fascia on, but the fascia doesn't actually make contact with the siding. You usually put fascia on and then siding, but we don't have the right stuff. We've ordered it, but we can get started on the siding, and we've actually started on the siding already. We have about halfway up the back wall done. We're going to add the bottom. There's a little strip that goes along the bottom that keeps your lines level, so you have to be really careful about making sure that that first piece is super straight and level. And then from there, you can just snap them on. We're going to get that done on one wall so that I can do siding on a wall that is low. And then Mike is going to be up on scaffolding behind the garage, working his way up that tall wall. Here is the sketchy scaffolding that we made. We actually used these ladders that we have come apart, and they're intended to be used as scaffolding like this. We're about halfway up this wall until we get to the gable part where we have to start cutting diagonals, which should be interesting. But everything's buried in snow. That's our box of siding. And we have to get all of the snow off of these so that they're not slippery and Mike doesn't die. So it seems like every time I have an idea of a way to do something, Mike always has the opposite way of doing it.
I say right, she says left.
Every time. And this time I was wrong. I thought that we should start at the corner, the back corner, so that we could line up with the bottom of that siding and then move forward along that line. And by the time we got to the end, because we didn't like hang the OSB perfectly level, there was too much overhang of OSB on the front corner. So we decided the lesser of the two problems would be to have the front corner be right and the back corner be a little bit off from
And when
the back
she says
siding.
off, she means that the grooves in the siding won't line up perfectly millimeter to millimeter.
Yeah, it's about a 1/2 inch lower on that wall than it is on the back wall now.
12 and a bit millimeters.
We got the starter strip all set up on that far wall. It is warm. It was supposed to, the high today is supposed to be 20 degrees. It feels like 45. I'm sure it's not.
It's all the radiation and the sunshine.
Yeah, the sun is just like reflecting off the snow and cooking us. I have sunscreen. Do you have sunscreen on? You should have sunscreen on. We
have taquitos and put on sunscreen.
Yeah, I think it's time for a taquito and sunscreen break. Let's see, now that that is set and we have our first row on that far wall, I can start moving up that wall by myself, and Mike is going to work on this wall on these sketchy scaffoldings.
Sketchy ladder.
As you can see by how dirty it is, we've been using this air fryer a lot, but it is an absolute game changer, super helpful. It's really easy to just throw something in there and then keep working. The bad news about that is that we've been eating a lot of junk food. But it's so hard to cook a real meal in a fifth wheel where there's no counter space. Something I've been struggling with.
In every job that we do, we try to work ourselves into a natural rhythm, and usually it has to do with sequencing the work that I do with the work that Allison does. Unfortunately, in this case, I was up on the scaffolds, and that meant that the only help Allie could reasonably offer me is to hand me ends as I am ready for them. Fortunately, we got her working on her own side, and here she made excellent and really fast progress on getting that side of the garage sided. As is often the case with building, having the right equipment makes a huge amount of difference. Having the right ladder, having the right nail gun, whatever it might be. And in this case, there's only so high I could go on the scaffolds before we have to just go to extended ladder setup. So when I was done with my side, we moved all the scaffold over to Allie's side and finished that wall.
How's it going? How you feeling up there?
Oh, like these boards are a little bit warped, so they twist when I walk on them. Good otherwise.
Not the most secure footing, but pretty good. Good, just a couple more rows and we'll be done with the whole wall. What's going on?
We're doing third side siding, and it's a snowstorm, and the wind's blowing. We can't see, so we put on ski goggles, and we're hoping for the best. Zeus loves it. He's ecstatic about the snowstorm. We were down in Salt Lake for much of this weekend because our friends threw a party, which was awesome. So thank you, Michael and Mackenzie, for hosting a party. It did, however, mean that we only slept like 2 hours. So we kind of slept in a little bit today, Sunday morning, and it's like 1 o'clock and we're sort of just really getting into our groove. So we're hoping to bang it out even though there's a snowstorm.
All right, we've got our first row completed. So now, until we get to the point where we need ladders, it goes really quick. We just have to, the part that takes the longest is just making the cuts for the ends.
I suppose it's not a surprise, but on the final wall here with the vinyl siding, Allie and I fell into a really good groove. She was bringing material ahead of time and getting the ends cut, and I'm a little quicker with the hammer, so I banged them into place while she laid them out.
Hope you like my new Carhartt beanie. It also accompanies some insulated bibs. Check this out. I'm wearing, ow, insulated overalls. I'm a real country bumpkin. Something that we have learned since moving up here is that you actually have to be certified to pump propane. It's kind of like a food handler's permit. Not just anybody can do it. So when it's time for us to fill up our propane tanks, which we have 4 now instead of just the 2 that the trailer came with, so that we don't run out, we have to make sure that one of 3 guys in town are available to pump propane, which means that I often have to take my lunch hour or leave a little early from work to go down into town and get propane. We only have 1 propane tank that really has propane in it at this point. So definitely time to go get the propane tanks all topped off so that we're good for at least a week. How's it going?
It's good. It's cold. I don't know how cold it is. It's damn cold, I guess. And it's a Tuesday night and I got to finish this up.
Look at how much snow is on the roof.
Yeah, there's a lot.
It's like a foot.
It's pretty deep, but I'm happy because I've got audiobook and the Bose things keep my ears warm. And I've got prescription safety glasses, keep plastic from getting to my eyeballs when I'm cutting the siding. It's awesome. We're making progress.
Zeus, do you have the zoomies? Zeus has the zoomies. Ah. Get the kitties. She doesn't think you're funny, huh? Don't knock Daddy's ladder over. Big dude.
I had a roommate once who told me that there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad clothing, and it is totally true. Buy warm things, you will love your time outside, and it won't feel like a chore to be in the cold.
It is a beautiful day here in Bear Lake. Very sunny. It's only 14 degrees though. I've got Elaine in my coat because it's the only way to keep her quiet. This is our third weekend working on the vinyl siding for the garage, but one of those weekends we spent half the weekend down in Salt Lake, so there's that. We're gonna finish it up today though. At least the vinyl. We want to get started on the board and batten on the front, but I don't know if that's gonna happen today. The first thing that we need to do today is figure out how to efficiently cut a 412 pitch angle on our vinyl so that we can do the gable wall. So Mike's gonna teach me how to do that.
Like a glove.
Very nice. First angle cut. Figured it out.
Feels like we haven't seen each other in a month.
When you said you needed space. What?
Go enough! Buttercream!
I don't know, what is it?
Like a 3/4 inch nail.
It's too little.
I don't even know where that came from. It's stuck in the box.
What you're watching here is a race against the sun. The temperature's about to drop 40 degrees in this high desert we live in, and I wanted to finish before I had to put on jacket and gloves and lose all of my dexterity.
We were successful in doing siding on the entire back of the gable, the garage, which is 40 feet wide, which is great. It took a lot longer than we expected, partially because of mental breakdowns and partially because we have to move the ladder every time we want to get up and put nails for every single row. So it took a long time, but we got it done. It looks nice. We need to do now this side of the garage, the front, which is going to be all hardy board. It's going to be just like the house. That's going to be much more technical. They're heavy slabs of cement fiber stuff. It's gonna take a lot longer and be much more difficult. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be great, but most importantly, when it's done, it'll look just like the house, so it'll be cohesive. Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed our video, think about subscribing. It'll help us out, and we'll see you next time.